Jalen Mark had never expected to be a diplomat. As a human technician aboard the interstellar freighter Celestial Dawn, his responsibilities were normally confined to engine maintenance, cargo checks, and occasional emergency repairs. But when the vessel docked on Zyphora 4, a planet ruled by alien merchant lords, he quickly found himself in the middle of an unusual and morally complicated situation. The freighter had been assigned a new cargo hold, a shipment of so-called companions, humanoid beings from distant colonies purchased to serve wealthy aliens. Jalen had heard about these arrangements from other crew members, but he had avoided thinking about them. That is, until he met Nira. Nira was small, delicate, and visibly nervous. Her skin shimmered with a soft iridescence, changing from pale silver to lavender under the lighting of the cargo bay. The alien traders referred to her as property, a worthless asset, because she had no special abilities that made her profitable. 5 credits, one merchant said dismissively to the head of the human delegation. You can take her or leave her. She's barely functional. No one would value her. Jalen stepped forward. He had no authority to overrule the transaction, but something inside him refused to let Nira be treated as a commodity. He glanced at her tiny frame, her wide, fearful eyes, and the way she clutched her small satchel, which likely contained the only possession she had ever owned. I'll pay full price, Jalen said. The alien trader froze, jaws tightening. Full price. For this one. Are you insane, human? Take it or leave it, Jalen replied calmly, counting out credits that exceeded what the merchant expected. The other crew members exchanged shocked glances. Jalen had crossed a boundary most humans wouldn't even approach. Nira blinked up at him, confused. You bought me, she asked, her voice trembling. Yes, Jalen replied. You're not property. You're worth far more than anyone can see right now. Once they were off the freighter and away from prying eyes, Jalen led Nira to the ship's quarters. She examined her new surroundings cautiously. Soft floors, clean walls, and a temperature perfectly suited for her physiology. Her violet eyes took in the unfamiliar comforts, but she hesitated to touch anything. Is this real? She whispered. It's real, Jalen assured her. No one is going to tell you that you don't matter. Not here. Nira's lips trembled, and for a moment she seemed on the verge of tears. She had been dismissed, sold, and regarded as nothing more than property her entire life. This human, a stranger, was telling her she had value. Over the following days, Jalen made it his mission to ensure Nira understood her worth. He provided her with clothing suited to her biology, something she had never had, and he taught her how to move safely around the ship and interact with the controls. More importantly, he spoke to her as an equal. You see, Nira, he said one afternoon, adjusting a control panel together. Most of these aliens look at what you can do for them or how profitable you are. But your worth is who you are. That is something no one can buy or sell. Nira listened intently. Her large eyes glimmered with a mixture of awe and disbelief. She had never been addressed this way before. Every word was a revelation. A week into their voyage, an emergency call came from a nearby mining colony. Raiders had attacked, stealing supplies and holding hostages. The Celestial Dawn was the closest vessel capable of providing support. Jalen volunteered to assist, taking Nira with him. As they approached the colony, Nira clutched Jalen's arm nervously. What if they see me as a slave? Will they hurt me? Jalen shook his head. They won't. You're not property. You're my responsibility, and I'm not leaving anyone behind. When they landed, chaos erupted. The raiders were armed, But Jalen navigated the terrain expertly. Nira, at first frightened, began to follow his lead, mimicking his movements and learning quickly how to take cover, evade danger, and even assist with minor technical repairs that disarmed traps and alarms. By the end of the confrontation, the raiders were neutralized, and the hostages, including other alien children, were safe. Nira had helped, and for the first time in her life, she realized her presence mattered beyond the judgment of others. Back on the ship, Nira's transformation became evident. She stood taller, moved with confidence, and even spoke assertively. "Jalen, I never thought can do something. I'm not nothing. You're more than anything the galaxy has ever dismissed," Jalen replied. In the weeks that followed, Nira began helping other rescued aliens aboard the ship. She showed them small acts of care, teaching them how to navigate the vessel, respect themselves, and trust humans. Crew members noticed the change too. The girl once labeled worthless was now a beacon of hope for everyone aboard the Celestial Dawn. Their journey eventually took them to the capital of Zyphora, 4, where the ruling council convened. Nira, by now confident and self-assured, stood beside Jalen as he presented their report. She spoke clearly, recounting the story of her rescue, her growth, and the lessons she had learned. The council was astonished. Few humans had ever engaged so boldly in alien social customs, and fewer still had acted purely from compassion. Nira's presence challenged their assumptions about property, value, and morality. One council member addressed Jalen. "Your actions. You purchased what others deemed worthless, yet the results are undeniable. This human saw worth where we saw property. What drives such behavior?" Jalen looked at Nira and smiled. "Compassion, respect, and the belief that every life has value. That's something worth more than any credits." The council deliberated, then issued a statement that reverberated across the planetary system. Humans are not only capable of advanced technology, they are capable of valuing life in ways that the galaxy has often ignored. Nira and Jalen continued their travels, helping other alien children and changing the lives of countless beings deemed expendable by their own societies. Nira, once dismissed as property, became an ambassador of hope and courage. She reminded everyone aboard the Celestial Dawn that true worth is not determined by skills, profits, or status, but by the respect, compassion, and recognition one shows another life. Years later, when Nira told the story of her human savior, she said simply, "He didn't just buy me. He taught me that I had value before anyone else ever could. And that changed everything." And somewhere in the far reaches of the galaxy, one human's act of recognition continued to ripple outward, reminding every being that courage, kindness, and empathy are universal strengths, transcending species, worlds, and even centuries.